Okay, this is going to be a review of the Focal. I used to call it Focal. People call it Focal because it's French. And it's the Elear, and I'm probably pronouncing that wrong too. Elear. There is two new headphones, the Elear and the Utopia. Utopia is $4,000. This one is $1,000. I don't think in terms of build quality, this is going to give anything away to the $4,000 headphone. Primary difference seems to be the driver, and Utopia has something made of oh gosh, what is it? Rare earth element. These are a combination of aluminum, I think, and titanium. The drivers, it's that special dome driver they make. The other one is beryllium for the $4,000 headphone. And anyway, this is a large, fairly heavy headphone. And but it's very comfortable. The weight's distributed very well. It's a lot easier to wear and to move around, walk around in than something, for example, like a Grado PS1000 or 1000E. That one is not only heavy, but it also shifts around on the head like a bowl of Jello if you move. And this one doesn't do that. It's very stable, and it feels very, very comfortable. Probably would take some time to get used to if you haven't used a large headphone like this. It might, I don't know, it can give you a little bit of a headache or neck ache at first, but I find it real easy to get used to. Anyway, this thing is built like extremely well. It's all metal construction, very nicely padded headband. The ear pads are pretty ideal in that they're covered with that, I think it's Alcantara or something. It's that fabric, so it's not the velour, and it's not the pea leather. Pea leather, I think, usually tends to give the best sound and durability, but it heats up a lot, especially if you're in a warm room. The velour, I think, is just tends to deteriorate too much, and that would change the sound. This should hold up a little bit better. But anyway, Alcantara. This is a fully open headphone, and I'm going to have to explain that because this is really different. The leakage is there's no isolation, but the leakage is kind of lower than I thought it would be for a fully open headphone. You still wouldn't be able to play it next to somebody who's watching TV or sitting in an office or something like that, because there is enough leakage to disturb people, but leakage is fairly low. It's not bad. Anyway, there's the headphone. It's extremely well made. The cables are detachable, and each cable going into each ear cup, it's a Y connector, is a mono 3.5 millimeter. So at least, even if it's a odd kind of connector there, you should find it pretty easy to replace the cable if you want to. This is a 13-foot, 4-meter cable, and not only is the cable long at that 13 feet, but I'm going to adjust this down a little bit here. But the cable is very heavy. It's a heavy-duty cable. Now, it's not as thick as the Grado PS1000 cable. Let's see if I can get a better look at that there. It's kind of like zip wire, except really thick. I don't know what gauge this would be. Maybe 14, 12, something like that. Very heavy, and it weighs a lot. So wherever you're sitting, you want to secure the cable so that it doesn't move around too much and distract you while you're listening. So this is a 1/4-inch 6.35 millimeter plug, and to that I have attached a Grado 6.35 to 3.5 millimeter adapter, which is very nice, very heavy duty, quality, gold plated. And point of that is that I don't have any desktop gear. I use portable gear. I got good portable amps. One of them costs $600 and some odd. Has pretty good power. But anyway, that's what I use, and that's going to be necessary with this headphone. For example, I'm going to get into the sound here. let me bring the player up here that I use, just for example, so that we can see. And let's see if we have, which curve we have on here. Yeah, that's the one, all right. This is I call it an EQ curve. It's the opposite of a frequency response chart. So we can see that this headphone's recessed about 6 decibels average through the treble. Now, that needs some explaining too. Having 150 headphones is pretty easy to figure out what's average and what's not. And I'm going to say that the measurements that I've seen from places like Interfidelity show that Elear is about 5 decibels lower in treble than Sennheiser HT800, but my listening tests say that it's more than that. Could be 7 to 10 decibels lower. So it's a little bit on the dull side. And you can determine that not just by comparison to a lot of headphones, but you can determine that by listening to pure test tones and see how the fall off is. But anyway, in the end, of course, it's up to each ear to determine that, but just be assured that this has less treble output than the neutral high-fidelity headphone. And I'm talking about a neutral headphone that has no peaks in the treble, just flat. So anyway, there's that. Now the other thing is that when I play music, this is an iPhone. With iPhone, I use different amps. But if I'm playing on an iPhone alone, and this is a 80 decibel, 80 ohm nominal impedance. But if you look at the impedance chart, you'll see it bumps up to, I think it's up to either, it might be as high as 700 ohms at between 40 and 50 hertz. It goes way, way, way up, which puts a big demand on a music player. But anyway, with the volume all the way up on certain songs that aren't real high output songs, but they still have a lot of dynamics. So you listen to them at the proper level, and you run out of volume control on here, and so I'm going to say that you need some kind of an amp with this headphone for a lot of tracks. So a lot of them may work fine. And one thing is, a lot of people say that the tonality is not as good if you don't have an amp with some of these premium headphones, but tonality seems to hold up pretty well here with most tracks at the max volume. But you still need an amp for a lot of stuff. So what I use in some applications or some places is a Dragonfly that goes into the iPhone using this little adapter right here from Apple. So we go put the lightning plug in the phone, and we plug the headphone in there. That does pretty well, but again, it's going to run out of juice on some tracks. And so I recommend an external amp. Maybe use something like a Dragonfly as a DAC and then attach an amp on top of that. And I think solid state or tube amp, either one would be just fine. I don't really see a difference there. Well, there's a difference, but I mean, I think it could go either way. Now about that open back on this headphone, the one thing that I heard with this that I've never heard with any other headphone, and I've had a lot of open headphones like the Sennheiser HT800, the Grado PS1000, quite a few others. With this, I was comparing to some other headphones, and I noticed something that I haven't noticed before, is that switching back and forth when I'd go to the Elear, all of a sudden it would be like something was completely missing. And I finally pinned it down to reflections inside the headphone. It just didn't have them. It was almost like stepping into a silence chamber or something like that. You can get that effect by putting on a Bose QC35 noise canceling headphone in a store and just listening to the background noise just disappear. But it's not the same here. It's just that you do get that sense that something is suddenly missing, and it's those kind of reflections. So if you have a headphone that's has a kind of a grainy sound to it or something, you may notice that this just doesn't have any of that. It has a very liquid, very pure kind of sound, and The sensation of whether you have enough trouble or not is not just on the tones themselves, which you can determine with tones, test tones, but it's also on that lack of reflections inside that would, it's kind of like being in a room with speakers and you've got real reflective walls versus having walls that are covered by rugs or something, so it's that sort of thing. It's going to affect your perception of how bright it is and how much upper detail there is in there, because some of the upper harmonics that I was kind of used to on some of these headphones where those harmonics seem to go out forever, like the trailing sounds of wire brushes and cymbals and things like that, definitely seem to be reduced here. But then again, I think this headphone naturally takes a dive above 10 kilohertz, and so some of that upper range is suppressed anyway, so good luck in bringing it back. This is, the people are saying this is a great headphone, but not neutral. Well, I think it's a little bit of an understatement. It's different, and if you're not able to compensate for it, then who knows, you might prefer something like the Focal Utopia, Focal. Oh, and anyway, that's talking about the open back properties, frequency response properties, the reflection properties, and just 100 other things. And I think I've probably said all needs to be said about this, but you'll definitely need an amp if you're going to do a wide variety of genres and play them at audiophile volume levels. And don't forget to take a look at that impedance curve. I mean, it's pretty crazy. It goes way, way, way up there at the low frequencies, which puts a huge demand on amplifiers. So anyway, Focal Elear, and it's really a beautiful machine. It's so well made. Has a nice screen over the driver. I guess we're looking at the driver, that shiny thing down inside there. But these ear cups are very deep. I can't say they fit my ears just fine, and there's extra room inside. And so, in other words, they'll fit larger ears than mine. And my ears are at least average. They're not small. So I think most people are going to fit inside there just fine, but there may be a few people with really extra large ears that would have some trouble. So anyway, there we are, Focal Elear. Oh, and by the way, I bought this from Todd, the Vinyl Junkie, and he's out there in Montana, I think, somewhere. I think he had a relationship at one time with Headroom and all those people. But anyway, Todd is a #1 good guy if you want to buy a headphone from somebody you can really trust. Todd, the Vinyl Junkie, highly recommended. Thank you very much.